Oh, it's still going live in 10 seconds.
The Star.
Yeah, y'all already know. Seven the Panther. That dude Fizz on the beat. Yeah. We live in entertainment. Sound change. Crown the kings, homie. This is where it get ill. About to have the tip off live as a tip drill. From the court to the diamond, to the track, to the big skin flying round the field. Starting five forever, keeping it real. If it matters in the world of sports, jeans and long sleeves, they taking no shorts. Hot to death, oh yes, these are the sports podcasts live as a pro's corpse. Biz market wave, the starting five goes off. No matter who you cheer for, emotions out the window, they analyzing with clear thoughts. They take it way deeper than the boys ever. No longer got any use for the four letters. The latest news, score stats and the view from the sideline. Ain't no guideline, it's just the truth. Yeah, no need to dig for a pardon line. It's always in season and people starting five. We going in on three, run the baseline, starting five. Get it, we got what you need. If the sports news you see, we don't waste time. We talking cause we live it. We got what you need. We going in on three, run the baseline, starting five. Get it, we got what you need. And y'all know me, seven sign, I'm the illest cat stick. I got what you need.
That's right, every week we got what y'all need. Well, I can't say every week because the man who preaches consistency allowed this show to get a little bit inconsistent. And I'm sorry for being a little bit of transparent. But, you know, hey, people have things that are going on in real life. Sometimes you can't coordinate situations. That's why I've been gracing y'all with some of the old flashback episodes of certain points in time during the birth of what we know now as the starting five. But forget all of that. It's me, your boy the mayor, that DJ named H5, your mom's favorite fat guy, all the way from deepest, darkest Africa. And we're back with my main man, the light-skinned wonder of the world.
What up? How y'all doing? First and foremost, I would like to give a huge shout out to the Starting Five Podcast Facebook page for reaching 1,000 comments on my thread. I had no idea it was going to take off and run like that. So I want to thank everybody who participated on the Facebook page. It was lovely, much needed, and every time I receive a notification, and that thread pops up, this huge smile comes across my face because it's always a new meme and a new joke. By the way, we're still waiting. We're still waiting. So if anybody got any inside information that I don't know about, but when the day comes, please hit me up. Hit the thread up.
It was supposed to happen it was supposed to happen this week, right? Just like it was supposed to happen like about a month ago, and all types of there's mad different times these things were supposed to happen.
Yo, I never seen a moving goalpost like this in like ever. It's just like it's not this week, it's next week. No, I meant next month. I mean next year. I mean 2 weeks from now. It's always moving. So I like to give a shout out to the whole entire Starting Five podcast group and participating. Keep it going. Let's reach 2,000, 3,000. Rock this shit out. I love it.
Yeah,
thank y'all.
Word up. I remember that time. I had I think possibly the first post in HHDG, the hip hop discussion group, that hit over 1,000, and then it popped over 2,000, And yeah, you became the first in the podcast group to have one over 1,000. So salutes to that. Congratulations. Even though I don't know what much there is to congratulate, other than the fact that it's fun. It's fun as fuck for the reason why it's being roasted and all of that. Again, if y'all not a member of the group, please join the group. Please. I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do now, too? I'm going to, as y'all see with the new look, I finally got the border situation. Yeah, I could change that little mesh jersey background. I should do that because it's looking kind of crazy. But if you look, I'm pointing to the wrong direction. Down at the bottom, I'm pointing to my right currently.
You're right.
Yep. There's a QR code down there that says scan me. Put your phones up, turn your camera on, put your phones up to that QR code, and that'll bring you directly to our website. So I don't really have to shout it out no more, but I'm going to shout it out anyway. Hit up the starvivepodcast.com as we ask y'all to each and every week. That's where you can find all the podcast platforms. That's where you can find our Instagram and all that good stuff. But because of that, I'm gonna have to make a QR code either just for that thread so people can see what we're talking about, or to join the Facebook group. One or the other.
Both.
It'll be branded on here soon, so y'all could just, as we ask y'all each and every week to join the group, especially for those who are watching us on YouTube. If you happen to be watching us on YouTube, you'll be able to just scan the joint and go right to see what we talking about. But as I mentioned, shout out to the That's Absurd podcast. I was in Orlando earlier this week, and I finally got to hook up with those brothers who were down in Orlando and did the show with them. And yeah, man, there was great times with that. I didn't get into studio with them, but yeah, I mean, hey, I travel. When I do get to travel, I try to make it a point to see people. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that we come out. And yeah, I mean, hey, I got to do the podcast with them. I got to see my boy I haven't seen in at least a decade or so, who's a friend of over 30 plus years and shit. And I forgot why I mentioned that, because I mentioned something on their show that I was going to say, but fuck it. I'm just rambling. It's just that kind of day, TJ. That's just,
It happens, bro.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. How was your week, though? How was your week?
Week was long, bro. Long, frustrating. I'm glad the weekend is here. I'm glad the weather's nice, and I can relax and enjoy this. So I mean, every week ain't gonna be rainbows, and every week ain't gonna be shitstorm. You're just trying to find a balance.
Yep.
So I'm good.
Well, they talking about a shitstorm for real tomorrow. They're talking about what's supposed to be, like, especially like I would say like my Staten Island, parts of Jersey, like the way they're showing the path of this alleged hurricane or tornado or whatever's supposed to be coming our way is supposed to be hitting like the end of Long Island, something terrible. But we might get, as far as the city, we might get 50 mile an hour winds, down power lines, down trees and all that stuff. So great way for me to get back into work this week, because then we could be out there going around and cleaning trees up.
Cleaning up, brother.
Well, you know, I work inside, so I'll be watching people clean up. But anyway, man, but enough of the rambling. I think this is just, you know, warming up the vocal cords right now, because we're just kind of just spitballing fucking nothing right now. What we got on the deck? What we got on deck, TJ? We're gonna the fun topic we talked about, though. We're gonna save that shit for last, because we got some talking about rap. We got some rap talk to do.
All right. So first we're gonna kick it off with Deshaun Watson. And now that the FBI is investigating his case and why they're investigating his case. For all those who don't know football or sport, Deshaun Watson, NFL quarterback for the Texans. He's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. He's the face of the franchise. And early this year, he was looking to get traded and get off this team. Ironically, however you want to say it or dress it up, he's now being alleged 22 women for sexual assault and massage parlors throughout the Houston area. Houston area. So the FBI has stepped in because there's a claim of extortion by one of the women who allegedly claimed that he sexually assaulted, and they were looking for money because to silence them and say that he didn't do anything. So the FBI has stepped in and said, "Listen, we're going to look into this and see if these claims are valid or not." Now, this was reported by the attorney for the 22 women. Deshaun Watson voluntarily, with his lawyer's permission, spoke to the FBI about the alleged allegations of extortion, which is wild to me because if he did these sexual allegations, why are you trying to extort this man? It kind of defeats the purpose. And it smears all the other women that are trying to get justice for themselves.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of what I wanted.
Look.
That's kind of what I wanted to add on to too. It's like, yeah, if for the FBI to now get involved and have to now look into the extortion aspect of this situation over the alleged sexual assaults, that speaks a lot to me. To wow, like what is the severity of what happened? Because 22 women, you could kind of say where there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Something might have happened. We are not here to be able to describe what that something is. None of us was in these rooms. And, I mean, just speaking on the man's side of things, man's point of view, just putting things out there, not saying this is it. But men can get hit with the sexual assault stuff and sexual allegation stuff just by saying, you know, hey, I might have touched the shoulder, rubbed down your back, and maybe he didn't give you what you wanted that night. Could have been money, could have been something else, could have been something else. And then all of a sudden, it just seems like bang, you get hit with an accusal of you did such and such, when all you might have done was just rub the hand down the back, you know, or you get those assholes that scream at women in the street. Then you just might have said something. Now that's looked at as like you did something to a person. Like I'm not trying to be out here saying it is hard for men, because there are men out here that need to just smarten the fuck up and just understand to act accordingly around women. I'm just giving examples of how we've seen these things over the years where men would go down after certain situations that weren't quote unquote assault. I mean, we probably wouldn't think that they were assault. And then especially too, when you're a man who thinks with somewhat of an old school mind, and you're still thinking in the 90s and 80s where a lot more stuff was gotten away with. Not that it was even okay then, but a lot more stuff was gotten away with then than there is now. You know, you get seen, and a lot of things will be perceived as you did wrong when it could have just been an unwanted, hey, hello, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, so
of course.
For the FBI, again, to be on this case and now investigating an extortion, like TJ, like you said, man, it's like this could smear and damage every other woman's case. And then in some respects, it's almost like, how could you separate this now from the rest of them? You know what I'm saying? Like, how could you separate this now from the rest of them? I don't know.
Right. Because have others tried to extort him? Was this a one time, a one off? Do the other women's claims are valid? It just muddies the waters even more for this case.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be
yeah.
It's gonna be tough to sort through the bullshit.
I agree.
I mean,
because we don't know what
day one.
Right. And it's the thing is, we're in a position where we don't know what's the bullshit.
None of this would have happened if you want to ask for a trade from this team. Because we hadn't heard anything from this man.
That's a perspective that I mean, those who don't track these things or see these things happen year after year and stuff like that, like, you might not see that. But these are types of games that organizations aren't afraid to play. I mean, if we were better prepared today, you see we're getting off to a sluggish start as is. But if we were better prepared to bring up situations like this that look equal to and comparable to, we could do that and probably just do a whole show on that. Where all of a sudden star player wants to be gone, and now all of a sudden the scandal comes and follows up right behind them. Now, once again, we're not sitting here saying that these women are wrong. Because like I mentioned before, if there's 22 of them coming out where there's smoke, there's fire.
Absolutely.
Same things just happened with Bill Cosby. And Bill Cosby had, over 50 plus or something like that, right? But Bill Cosby did time. Right. He did time, and he got out on a technicality because the courts fucked up. So, back spinning on that one, that doesn't mean he's not guilty. That just means the courts fucked up. But it goes to what I was rambling on a little while ago, but also too, this lawyer that's representing all of these women, like, this guy could probably just see this as the easy cash grab. This extortion attempt could be very, very real. And he very well could have rounded up a bunch of women who said, yeah, I gave Deshaun a massage and I touched his ankles, but I'll embellish the story a little bit and say, yeah, he tried to get me to grab his meat. Like, there could be
honestly, this is my personal opinion.
Go ahead.
I don't think he has these women's best interests. He's not representing their best interests. That's me personally.
And we're talking about the lawyer, right?
Yeah, the lawyer for the women. He just something about him just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, like he's like a court-appointed lawyer with an oversized suit jacket.
No, like he's a ambulance chaser looking for the fast bus type deal.
Oh, looking, y'all, got you. Kind of like what they what a lot of the black community thinks of. What's his name? Benjamin Crump. That's the lawyer's name, right? Like, a lot of people think of him as the, let me, anything social justice, let me jump on that. Kind of like an Al Sharpton. Anything that happens to a black person, a cop sneezed on a black person the wrong way, Al Sharpton's there. Like, that's the way that lawyer feels, you're saying?
To that effect, yes. He's looking for the payday.
Right.
Bottom line.
I mean, straight up and down, however this case goes, I hope whoever was wronged in either situation gets the proper justice that they deserve. Like I said, I personally, I have no fight in this, but if Deshaun was being wronged, I hope that somebody does right by him. If Deshaun did do the wrong and these women were wronged, then I hope they get the justice that they deserve. That's just my opinion on it. Like I said, you could call me I'm riding the fence, whatever, but this ain't our fight to fight. We just discussing it and following up with
basically what you're saying is you want the facts to come out.
Yeah.
Facts to come out, and you want the truth to be told. Regardless if it's Deshaun Watson or these women. You want somebody to get their justice.
Right, because like you said, for the truth, for whatever the truth that comes out of it is, let it be truthful. It has to be truthful. Like whatever the truth comes out of this, and the judgment that's laid down behind this, then so be it, and that's what it is. For real, it's but
for real.
But we are finally in NFL preseason, and part of bringing him up too is that he's at the camps, he's at the practices, but he is not participating.
He's working out.
But he's maybe working out on the side, but he's not.
Yes,
I haven't seen him in the mix with like the starters or the backups or anything like that. I just know that he's arriving to work.
No, he's there because he has to show up. He has to show up, and he doesn't want to lose any money.
Right.
So that's that one point. And I think he wants to stay sharp because whenever this case gets resolved, he wants to get it back on the field as quickly as possible.
Yeah, true. True indeed. So just to show the Texans, this is what I need y'all to get rid of me for. Like, I don't want to be here no more, but I'm not gonna flake out on you. But I don't want to be here no more. So let me show off for another team. Let me show off for another team, and I'm out.
Right. And they're still fielding offers for him on the low. Like they're listening to offers.
Right. And see, that's the thing. Like, just again, it goes back to those thoughts in the head of like, if he didn't want to bounce, if he didn't want out, would all of this have come out? And then now, so say he did get traded to someplace. Say he did, as reports were talking like, oh, Philadelphia was interested. That could be a landing spot, whatever. Which, to be honest with you, I hope it would be, because I personally don't trust Jalen Hurts right now as our starting quarterback. That's just me. Can't tell Sammy J that, but that's just me. But would this situation eventually die, or would there really be court settlements if he did move on from the Texans? It's a big what if.
It remains to be seen. Yeah.
It's a huge what if, but it is what it is. Like I said, we can go the conspiracy route on that all day. But since we're in the NFL preseason, TJ, I mean, what are you liking so far? What have you noticed that stood out to you? What's not looking good to you? I'll tell you right now, my Eagles getting beat 35-0 or 36-0 to the Patriots is in a way, to me, to fellow Eagles fans, it feels like a I told you so, because I don't see where we're going yet. I'm sorry. I don't see it, TJ.
That's interesting because they were talking like Jalen Hurts was going to be the man out in Philly. And
I remember him in
preseason.
I remember him in college, and college wasn't that long ago. And yeah, he had the one great season in Oklahoma when he transferred from Alabama. He was the national champion in Alabama. You can look at him in Alabama as a system guy, or under Lincoln Riley, whatever his name was in Oklahoma, as a system guy, and it was college football. And yeah, I'll just keep saying it was college football. You want to know the difference between college and pros? Let's take a look at Tim Tebow, which we will do in a minute, but let's take a look at Tim Tebow. and how his game was.
Or isn't.
True indeed.
But I can't speak on my Giants because none of the starters played in the first preseason game. Allegedly, he's playing tomorrow against the Browns. The most moves my Giants made have been camp fights.
Word.
And I can't judge anything off camp fights, except it looks like Sterling Shepard knows how to box. That's all I got. He definitely ducked and weaved a couple of punches the other day, and I was impressed. But that's all I got. Weave.
No, but there seems to have been a bunch of camp fights out there though recently. No, but I mean, you know what though? I'm not even gonna recall who the teams were, but
it was the Raiders. The Raiders and the Chargers.
Yes. The Cowboys, I think too. I think the Cowboys had one too with somebody.
The Cowboys need to fight themselves.
Yeah, word up. But point is though, it's just you bring two teams together for, a couple scrimmage practices before a preseason game just to tune up, and you got a lot of guys who are trying to make rosters, not trying to, might not make rosters. Things are always going to happen. Things are always going to happen.
People are trying to eat.
Yeah.
People are trying to eat, man.
Yeah.
This is a job.
But the biggest thing, though, I mean, like we mentioned, we brought up NFL preseason, but there's really not shit that's going on other than, Aaron Rodgers and him telling the media, like he don't want this to be a farewell tour type of season. Because we all know that he kind of wants out of there. And he's seeing his future faster than Brett Favre did in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's determining, like, he wants out. He wanted out. The team ain't going to just let him ride, or they're just going to take any deal for him right away. Well, I think that they're going to end up having to let him ride after this season.
Well, they restructured his contract to play for this season.
Right, just one season.
There after this. Yeah, just one season. Yeah.
Right,
and
but
he got his boy Randall Cobb back in. He's got his number one wide receiver there. So I mean, if they win it all, does he stay?
No, I don't think so, because with them drafting the kid Love, they made their mind up. Now, if they do win it all, honestly, let's just keep it real. Excuse me. Let's keep it real. If they do win it all, there could be a major restructuring happen. But this is Green Bay we're talking about. They relied everything heavily on Aaron Rodgers' arm. That defense really hasn't gotten any better. And the defense, once again, is one of those defenses that's always played great if you give them a 2-touchdown lead. They'll maintain a 2-touchdown lead for Aaron Rodgers, if he puts them and that offense puts them in that position. Has that offensive line gotten any better? I haven't really seen no changes in that department either. But you still got the top 3 quarterback in the league on your team. And when you bring it to these talking heads out there that only know quarterback, that's all they're going to tell us is just quarterback. What about the rest?
He does make a huge difference. I mean, he is a difference maker.
100%.
He's going to try to win at all costs.
He's missing Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, but Jordy was on the downside of his career.
I know. I wasn't saying that seriously. It's because Randall Cobb came back, so why not bring back his lone standout white boy receiver?
I will say this. Cam seems to solidify his spot as starting quarterback for the Patriots.
Yeah, well, what is this, only preseason game number 2?
Right.
So it's still got a long way to go. But Mac Jones, I mean,
Mac Jones is pressing him.
Yeah. But this is Cam Newton.
Jones is the truth.
Former MVP Cam Newton. So
yeah. He played in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, the guy's got tons of experience in high pressure situations, high pressure games. His decision making hasn't always been the best. But I think
he's went through the football version of the twisties.
I think another year under Belichick and his assistant, he's got a better understanding instead of being thrown into the situation like before. I think we'll see a more composed, controlled Cam under center. So we'll have to see how it works.
Yeah, true indeed. But
I mean, the favorites are still the favorites. You got the Bucks and the Chiefs.
Well, and Buffalo. I got high hopes for Buffalo this year too. Regardless of Josh Allen's contract and all of that stuff, I think that if we're thinking AFC East, I think we're still thinking. I still think they will be the team to beat this year. They will be the team to beat.
What's going to be interesting is what's going to happen in New Orleans. Drew Brees is not there.
Yeah, and it's Taysom Hill and Senor Crab Legs.
Crab hands. But they have one of the best running backs in the league with Kamara.
Yup.
And that offensive line is going to get holes for that man. He's just a threat. Passing, running. It doesn't matter. I think I would like. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, because you was talking about Taysom Hill. I realized I caught on you was talking about Taysom Hill and not what's his name, Jameis Winston. Talking about he's a running threat and all that. Jameis Winston has never been a running threat, but I realized I put 2 and 2 in my head that you wasn't talking about him.
Yeah. I mean that's going to be an interesting situation. I'd like to see how that's going to work out. It's going to mess up people for fantasy football for sure. Kamara, when Taysom Hill was a quarterback, Kamara's touches went down significantly because Taysom Hill was running.
But also, but Taysom Hill also, Drew Brees just retired. Taysom Hill was only in the game for gimmick scheme plays. So, of course, your touch is going to go down when the play is, the reason why you're on the field is because the play is designed for you to run the ball.
And how do you feel about Michael Thomas? He's one of the best wide receivers in the league.
Yeah, but once again, you're calling a guy in for a play that's generally designed for him to run. And that didn't happen all the time in all these games. It would happen a few times per game. I know he went in a lot during the red zone, appearances, if you want to call it that. And for the most part, the man was pretty damn effective. He was pretty damn effective down there. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is with New Orleans because I really don't give a fuck about New Orleans. I did root for them in the Katrina season just because it was a feel good and all that, but I don't care what they do. They can go back to being the Aints for all I care and brown bags over the fans' heads, Aints and all that. But we'll see what happens with them. But
it's going to be a very, very interesting season.
Yeah, it's gonna be a weird one, but I want to get into the guy that we was talking about before, Mr. Christian Mingle, Mr. NFL white privilege Tim Tebow, as some people was trying to call it. They're trying to call it, some people are trying to call it white privilege out there. I just called it the privilege of the coach being your homeboy all the way from college. Tim Tebow gets released, as they said, from several bad blocks. I didn't get to see any of the games he played at tight end, but it didn't sound good. It just didn't sound good. I'm gonna look up the highlights eventually, but I think
I knew for a fact that he was not going to make the team as a tight end at all.
I agree. I mean,
And this was more of a publicity than anything.
it can be perceived as such because of how quick he got cut. But I thought he might have had a place on that team somehow, some way. And I'm still going to go by the factor of if he had listened to what people were saying his first go around in the league, he would have had a longer career and probably would have never played baseball for the Mets. If he had went to halfback or fullback or whatever, or if teams used him like Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Like don't look for him to try to lead receivers with a pass and hit tight windows and things. Tim Tebow's arm was built for a stationary target or a wide open target.
You know what the real reason is behind that? He had that one playoff game where he won. I think he beat the Steelers.
Absolutely. He beat the Steelers and hit a wide open wide receiver on broken coverage who was standing there pretty much doing jumping jacks looking for the ball to be thrown to him.
Scarecrow in the corn.
That's it. And you had people that wanted to bring up like, oh, he went for like 300 to change, versus Brady and this and that. Yeah, he had his couple of games where he went for some decent yards and things like that, but overall, as an NFL quarterback, he was not it. He should have went and flexed himself to carrying the ball, learning how to block then. Then maybe this transition to tight end could have been a lot better.
Yeah, he's more of a wildcat offense quarterback than anything.
Yeah, red zone
goal
line play. Yep.
Yeah, RPOs all day for him. And if it's not set up that way, he's not in the pocket, stand over, look over the defense, and hit like you said, hit a guy in a tight window, or lead a guy on a 30-yard bomb down the sideline or something. That's not his game.
Nope. But you know what his game is now? Is his RPCPs. Run and pass them collection plates. He can go back to the church and go pass them collection plates around every Sunday. Go get your money that way. Go back to doing missionary work. The man is a good dude. There's no hate. That's just a good person. But just as an NFL player, he wasn't it. He wasn't it. I'm sorry.
He's been blessed with opportunities. That's for sure.
This is fact because he's a great person. Like, he's a good person. He's a good dude. And it's like, how do you not want that kind of image when you have people like Deshaun Watson pulling scandals and stuff? You have all these camp fights, or bring it back to OBJ's past transgressions. Like, you have knuckleheads in the league. Why not have the good Christian boy? Whatever, if you think all Christians are good anyway, but why not have the good Christian boy who speaks well on camera represent your team? Why not? But it's just usually a figurehead. He's not a great player. I'm sorry. Now,
no, I agree with you 100% on that.
Top 3 college football players of all time? Absolutely. There's no denying his impact at the game in college football at all. What he did in the University of Florida is nothing but, nothing short of amazing. And yeah, but it's, once again, this wasn't the college game. He had to eventually put his big boy pants on and get into the league, and it just didn't pan out. He got his second opportunity. It didn't pan out again. The boy's going to be all right. He's going to be all right.
He'll be fine. He'll get a job as an announcer for or college football.
Yep, he'll be right back to ESPN. Right back to ESPN he goes. But TJ, now we got to get into the tough shit. Well, now we got to get into the tough shit. Let us know what's going on.
Well, this past week, I mean, if you've been under a rock, the evacuation or the removal of U.S. troops out of Afghanistan has just been the word I like to use has been a big clusterfuck. In terms of organization and how the United States has been pulling out of Afghanistan. It doesn't seem like there was any type of organized coordination on the ground with the troops and American citizens and Afghans that were working for the United States and helping the troops to get out the country safely as the Taliban moved in and took over the country. So I mean, I don't know if you haven't seen the videos. There's a ton of videos out there. The airport being mobbed with Afghans, citizens who are fearing for their lives, not wanting to return to Taliban rule, trying to leave the country, and for a better life, a better way of living. And the situation with the women out there, they were just getting their independence. And now it seems like they're back to square one. So I feel for all those people out there, but it needed to be handled better.
In some respects, I agree, and totally. It could have been handled and organized better. It was severely heartbreaking to see all of those people running to the planes that were coming back this way, coming back stateside, military planes full of our troops and just common Afghani citizens that feared for their lives and just want to get away, which I'm going to speak to that part in a minute. But I will say this to this whole situation. I'm glad Joe Biden finally did what these other presidents didn't do in some respects, and that is pull our troops out of a country that, for most, I think many of us would say we didn't need to be there anyway. We didn't need to be in most of these. We don't need to be in most of these countries. When you think about it again, TJ, we are the only country that has military setups in everywhere else in the world. No other country has a military setup here. Why? Because we don't allow that. Two, they treat the U.S. Military as the world police. And this has been clear, unfortunately, with the Taliban going back into Afghanistan and taking over. They never wanted to have to go by American westernized rules. They never, nobody they don't want us to go through that.
Our excuse was it was a place for breeding ground for terrorists.
Right.
And that's the main reason why we're there. Allegedly. I don't want to say.
Allegedly.
Right.
Allegedly. For real.
Right.
Big.
Allegedly. Big. Yeah. So I can understand that to a sense, but that country has been dealing with people invading that country for decades. Like decades. Russia tried to do it, they failed. United States has failed several times. That's a hard ass country, man. And those people do not want to conform to Western standards.
Yeah, well, to a point, and it's more of who we are quote unquote calling the terrorists of their country are the ones that mainly don't want to conform. You know what I'm saying? They're mainly the ones that don't want to conform. And they should not saying that they have to do it behind a reign of terror. Okay? It does not need to be done with terrorizing. It doesn't need to be done with terrorizing your own people. You know what I'm saying? There could be a better way that it's done. There could be a much better way that it's done, but it's just man, listen, it's just there's so much.
Here's a perfect example, right? You see the way how they handle the situation and the situation in Afghanistan. We have literally domestic terrorists here, and they're handling it almost the same way. They're not doing anything, or they're not doing enough, or they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing to handle the situation. It's like it doesn't happen.
Right. Well, here's where I kind of gathered my thoughts a little bit to where we were just at, and let's look at it like this. All right. Biden was just like, in some respects, was saying he was. Now you're echoing, but Biden was pretty much kind of saying, their own military isn't even doing anything about this. So why do we need to have our American people over there to do something about this? And when you think about it, it was our American troops who are allegedly there to help train their military to fight off against, their perceived terrorists and attackers and people of such. But then when you think back, decades back, you know what I'm saying? You think decades ago, and remember, I think it was those same Taliban people who was also trained by the U.S. military to be able to
get Russia
themselves.
Yes. Full circle.
So think about that. You think about it in that way. America is responsible for both sides of it. But also, while doing that, they bring back home the same rhetoric and bullshit telling us or having people thinking because it's happening over there, oh no, it can allegedly happen over here too. It can allegedly happen over here too, which goes back to what I mentioned before. Let me know how many military bases from other countries are in the United States to protect them from us.
Sorry for the background noise. Somebody's playing Springsteen. At a volume 5 we hear. That shit is like 3 yards down.
Bruce. It's Bruce, man. It's America. We're talking about America. So. But real shit though, GJ. It's like, just look at that effect of we're on both sides of this thing. And then people are still believing not even a fact, but believing the rhetoric and nonsense of, oh, these terrorists, they could come back here and do this to us. No, they can't. I mean, 9/11 did happen. Want to go conspiracy in my head like normal? The U.S. stopped it? Yes, I believe so. But in this type of situation, you got to look at it for what it is. It's over the years, we trained both sides of this. And yet one side is still heavier and stronger than the other.
By a lot.
But again, our people are out there being killed alongside their innocent civilians. They don't want to be westernized like America. But yet you want to protect people. What I wanted to say as far as feeling bad and understanding and actually no, for what I want the American people who believe in the rhetoric of, oh, they're going to come over here and do that shit to us and blah, 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 blah. If you think all of these brown people are quote unquote terrorists, like no lie, I used to work with a guy who thought every single halal car and every cabbie was a terrorist because he worked in the World Trade Center when 9/11 happened. So anybody of brown skin he thought was a terrorist that wasn't African American. But
Damn.
when you see these people bum rushing, willing to hang from the wheels of the plane, from the fucking landing gear, try to ride on a wing to escape to some level of freedom, that should really tell you what a great majority of these people are truly about.
Right.
It's about a lot of people in this world want to live in peace, want to live in freedom, and they are willing to risk their lives to hang on a huge military plane in some way, shape, or form with no clothes, no food, nothing from their homeland, just to get away and escape for freedom. That should say a lot about these people and your ignorance in believing that all of these people are terrorists.
Yeah, you just can't blanket the whole country.
Or just
for one group.
Or just anybody of brown skin. Anybody who believes in something that's just opposite of what you believe in. Like, you can't blanket everybody with that.
The history of this country and brown people speaks for itself.
True indeed. But back to, Biden's decision. I agree with you, TJ. It's a sloppy one. It's a sloppy transition. But I believe that this needed to happen because I personally have always been somebody who, I've even told this to my friends in the military to their face. I don't personally believe in the military and I don't like it. I salute those who choose to do it. But I am not for going out and fighting somebody else's battles. I'm not for.
You can't give Biden full credit for pulling out because it was Trump who did it in his last year, who signed the treaty.
Yeah. No, totally.
Saying that they were going to get out.
I totally agree, but they didn't get out in full when he did sign it, and now Biden is the one to actually pull the trigger. That's the only difference in all of this, is Biden is the one to pull the trigger finally. Because I personally don't believe we don't belong there. We don't belong in any of these other countries. None of these countries want the same rhetoric and bullshit that America gives. Again, how many of these countries out there laugh at us, laugh at this country day in and day out because we allowed that circus clown to be president? How many countries... I was going to say, how many countries laugh at us because of the treatment of our people alone?
It's interesting you say that, like we're in all these other countries. How many of those countries are in the United States?
Other than embassies,
what we did.
As I say, other than embassies, none.
Right.
And it goes back to that comment right there. Why do we always have to police everyone? Because we have probably the largest military in the world.
With a police on the block.
We don't need to. Like, just like talking in conversation on a show the other day, like I learned that like Japan like has a military, but not really. But they rely on us to help them. And let's think about this. This is the same Japan, Pearl Harbor, and we're protecting for them. We go around to other countries and in other parts of the world protecting for them. But then yet you feed our troops this false sense of you're doing it to protect America, to keep America safe. Like, no. That's one of them pieces of bullshit that I have never seen to this day. And if somebody out there that's military that would love to come on and explain how your presence in Afghanistan or your presence in Saudi Arabia or your presence in an African country protects America, please come on this show and explain that to me. Because then you'll be at least 30 plus years of me trying to figure this out and trying to understand that rhetoric and bullshit. How is you fighting somebody else's battles protecting us? I don't get it.
Right.
I don't get it. I've never gotten it.
It's a good point. It's a very good point.
But nonetheless, though, the reason why I titled the show the way I did is because it literally was like the Taliban acted like in that scene in Friday. It was like, all right, it's like he here right now, but once he leave, I'm gonna be right back here. I'm gonna be right back here, and that's exactly what they did.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's like, okay, they poked, they tried, they poked, they tried, they poked, they tried. Oh, they out? Let's go get our shit back. Let's go get our shit back.
My whole thing is how quickly it happened. Like we left them with like state-of-the-art weapons. We've been training these people for 20 years. And it happened in like a week, 2 weeks. And it was easy. It was no long drawn out battles. Nothing.
It's because they already knew the weakness. It's that simple. They already knew the weakness. They had a better re-entry plan than we had an exit plan.
Wow. Well said. Well said, brother.
Yeah, it's how long have they had that re-entry plan? Like I literally, just, like you said, it happened in a matter of what they say, like 9 days.
That's crazy.
But the one thing in this whole situation I feel the worst for is the women in all of this, because this is where the westernization of it of America being there was good. It was helping the women in that country realize they have a voice. Like, they are valid people. You're not just subservient. You don't have to be subservient to men every day. Like, you are able to, like, I seen a report today looking up information about it before we started rambling on, about a woman who went and saved like a team of women who had their own like robotics crew, like, who build robots and stuff like that. Like, she went and personally saved them and brought a majority of them back over to America to so they don't get stifled over there and not be able to continue a passion they love. It's things like that.
It seems like they fail to realize that women can contribute to the overall growth of the country.
And but that goes back to beliefs, some respects religious beliefs, and to me, a lot of the nonsense that lies and falls behind that. But we're not gonna go in fully on that, because then you'll because I could go all day there too. I could go there all day too, but it's that's who I feel the most bad for when it comes to, quote unquote, the Taliban crew coming back into their country of Afghanistan, pretty much trying to unwesternize what America was trying to westernize.
Right.
Which, again,
education.
Mm-hmm.
A voice.
Mm-hmm.
Having a seat at the table. Basically.
Yeah.
Having a seat at the table.
Which is all important.
Very important.
It's all important. It's just important to everybody's, like, just living in general. Like, we all have voices. We all have, this is a part of the reason why I think podcasting is so great, because it's the days of just the talking head and everything you learned and heard from what they fed you on TV are over. You could get different perspectives from other people, from different backgrounds and different makeups and things like that. You don't have to like and agree everything that you hear, but you get to hear different personalities, different perspectives. That's one of the great things about being in a quote unquote free country like America, whether you feel America is free or not. We're free. We can look at it like this. We're freer than most.
Yes.
We're freer than most. And that's the best.
It gives you the freedom to be heard.
Right. Whether they're listening to you is a different story. Like in what my man said, that white men can't jump. He's like, you are hearing Jimmy, but you ain't listening to no Jimmy. You need to listen to Jimi Hendrix. You can't just hear him. And it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, you can be heard, but who's listening? And that's that even ties into the whole Afghanistan thing, and especially the women in Afghanistan. Now it's gonna fall back to, we don't want you seen or heard. Brings you back to the old school American. We just want you barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen.
That's it.
Which is sad. It's sad. It's a sad mentality to have. And I mean, even people in their own faiths and stuff like that in other countries understand and respect women differently.
Dan, you have 3 daughters, bro. I have a daughter. You don't want your daughters to be silenced or just pushed to the back.
Absolutely not.
You don't want your mothers, your aunts and grandparents. Like, you want them to have a say. They have something to contribute.
Yeah.
Thinking outside of the box. Maybe they put you in a perspective that you can't see.
Yeah.
Well, that's lost. Well, that's lost. Like you said, it's very sad, bro.
Yep. But we'll follow up more on this shit and see what the proceedings are with all of this. But it's in some ways, I'm kind of, if you want to say, and how we described and expressed things here today, it's like I'm kind of mentally conflicted in just some small ways. These people have, anybody on earth should have the right to feel like they live freely. They should be able to have that right. But then you got the politics and the religious bullshit that all encompasses everything in the way people are brought up and move in certain parts of the world. And again, I personally didn't think that we needed to be in these countries and giving them the same westernization that even this country doesn't follow to a T.
Right.
There are aspects of it that I wish that they did allow to continue while you go ahead and live how you want to. Go ahead and live how you want to, but change. Like, don't be afraid to change, because some change can be good. And especially for their case, it's mainly giving women who are human beings just like us men, allowing them to have a voice, allowing them to have a say so in certain things. Not even certain things, in everything, in life. Allow these women to be, allow these women to just exist more than just existing to be of service to you when you feel you need servicing. That's the problem that I have within this.
The only way it's going to get done is they figure it out internally amongst themselves. They have to do it themselves.
Yep.
However long it takes, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. It's going to get worse before it gets better. But it has to get done eventually.
Agreed. And it's the men. Clearly, it's the men that need to change. And
man strikes again.
Damn you, penises! This is a man's problem, and this ain't our problem. That's why I can admit it. This ain't our fault.
You ain't tying me to that.
Nope. This is a male ego amongst a certain religious set's problem to deal with.
Yes, it is.
And that's where they just have to grow to change. Maybe and for the most part, Afghanistan is a Muslim country, right? Not saying Muslim, like people like to say the Muslims is a race of people. No, the Muslim is a culture. Maybe other Muslim leaders from other countries need to go and step in and talk to their people and do something. It almost feels like it's like in Christian Catholic Bible sense. It's like Old Testament thinking versus New Testament thinking, and they're at war with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe some more progressive Muslim countries need to be like, look, do you see what these women did here? Do you see what these women did there? Like this could benefit you. This could benefit your people. You might be able to thrive a little bit better instead of just having a reign of terror over people.
Yeah. Through intimidation, it never works.
It only works in one country, and we know to stay the fuck away from them, and that's North Korea.
And I'm pretty sure nobody's living happily in North Korea.
True. Other than those who chose the brainwashing, but I digress.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie though. I ain't gonna lie. I would love to see what that country looks like. I would love to see what all these countries look like, but I know for a fact, even though I'm black, I'm American. So would we make it out? Would we make it out is the real question.
Hey, we've been kind of bred to escape certain situations.
So it's in our DNA.
We're hardwired that way. Like, oh shit, is going down. I'm out.
Well, I would say some of us, because let's keep it real. We're talking in that kind of aspect. Some of our people were here already. Let's just remember that.
True.
Not all of us came from Africa. Well, if you go by the standard of life came out of Africa in general, then yeah, everybody in this planet did. But I personally believe, I've always believed us as humans have always been here, especially us of not just Eagles fans, but us of color. I think we've always been. And there's even information out there that show, like, you know, genealogy traces of how you could quote unquote say white people are more connected to Neanderthal, while us people of color are more 100% human than others. But that's a whole other rabbit hole of science and other stuff for another day.
Just to put it in a nutshell, we're the day ones.
Yeah, we're the day winners. Yes. But nonetheless, though, I mean, for the people who unfortunately got left behind in Afghanistan, I mean, prayers, well wishes, whatever, positive energy. And I'm not saying that to be sarcastic, because I don't do the prayer thing, but I do hope for the best for y'all. I do hope for the best for y'all. And all we can do here is just sit back and see how this thing plays out more. But I will again say, y'all dumb Americans, especially you rednecks, y'all need to start paying attention and start waking up. Because they're not going to. Now, granted, you know what? Maybe some of those people who did get on them planes are of quote-unquote Taliban and want to do whatever they do when they get here, because they might be the ones that really hate America. Then you got an argument. But to me, I fall back on that visualization of people trying to escape for life, escape out of a means of survival. I see that more as people pleading for freedom, for a better life and better living than being under a reign of terror.
Well, it's the same thing with these people trying to come across the border in Mexico. They're trying to escape their situation for a better life here. It's the same thing.
Yep. I mean, and it's the same thing as many of these people's ancestors. Let's go over here and try to make a better life for ourselves here. And then all of a sudden, through generations after generations, it became, hey, we were born here. Y'all don't deserve to come here. But yet I'm going to still wave this is the land of the free, home of the brave. I'm still going to represent the Statue of Liberty on my drawers. Meanwhile, the Statue of Liberty is a beacon of fucking freedom. So you kind of backtalk your motherfucker. Damn bug flew in my water. I'm pissed. They invaded my fucking thing.
At least they ain't biting you like they're biting me right now. So.
Yeah, true indeed. True indeed. So you're the person who got stuck in Afghanistan while that bug was trying to make it on the plane. Damn it, man, we are some assholes for that one. But let's move on, yo. Let's close this show out with a little bit of fun, man. Again, to the people of Afghanistan, man, my positive energy is with you guys who want better for yourselves and don't want to be stuck under this level of tyranny that's going on, and it sucks.
Better days ahead.
Please, let's please hope, all of us hope for better days for these people ahead, for real.
Indeed.
But better days too for our troops that no longer have to be under the gunfire unnecessarily. For real. But let's talk. Let's have a conversation under the rap portion of this hip hop culture, TJ. I'm sure you've heard.
Get up, brother.
I'm sure you've heard on LeBron's show. I think it's The Shop or whatever it is. Jemele Hill was recently on there, and they were having a discussion where she brought up it's about time for Big and Pac to start making an exit out of some of your top fives, out of people's top fives. And my first thoughts was, wow, this was something I've been saying for the longest. But I guess because it's Jemele Hill, it's gospel now. But then I was just like, no, I agree with her. I agree with her to a certain level of respect. Because you look at Big's career. You look at life in general and how each generation, they were born into different eras of rap music. And a lot of the young kids weren't around when Big was a thing. A lot of the young kids now weren't even around before Big got killed. You know what I'm saying? So all they have is the stories from people who were around and the music that's out there. People like us, we were alive for when Big first came out until his death, and then got whatever came after the fact. Then you have that small subset of people who were in the rooms with Big, who were in the rooms with Pac. You know, we were alive to see Pac's work ethic and hear about how he was always in the studio, always doing this. But then when you get him on camera, he's dropping all types of knowledge that seems to contradict some of his rhyme styles and his lyrics and stuff like that. But we've seen who these people were, to where people of our generation are going to continue to have the same affinity towards these people, to where it's okay if you keep them in your top fives. They're not mine, but it's okay. But I think this conversation also, it also brings back the talk of people feel like there needs to be a uniformed top five across the board that everybody who represents the hip hop culture and rap music needs to abide by. And that's the bullshit that I've always said is wrong. Because I have my own personal top five. I know, TJ, you have your own personal top five. And that's what it should be, because the relationship to music is the artist delivering and what you take from said artist's delivery and make it.
Because we were there. Because we were there.
To a point, yeah. But I'm just stating, though, like, Big could be your number 3, but he's not mine, because Big might not have made me feel a way that he did you. Because it's your personal relationship with it. You know, it's your personal relationship with his music and him as a person and things like that. And it all, as Facebook user said, it said, I think Jemele Hill said Biggie and Pac should no longer in a top 5. It should be meant to say no longer should be in the top 5. And that's what we're talking about. And that's where it's like, I agree personally because they're not in mine, and I'll explain why in a minute. But your personal relationship towards that artist and why you love them doesn't mean that you have to listen to what they said and take it as gospel and take it as, nah, fuck that. If Big is always going to be in your top 5, claim that shit. Own it because it's your list. It's what you perceive to be as the best. That's why, like, bring it to basketball. Everybody.
I was going to say that.
I would say 90% of people to 80% of people feel like Michael Jordan has to be number 1. And I'm talking even kids who never even see Michael Jordan in a Wizards jersey will tell you Michael Jordan's number 1. Why? Because it's been consistently beaten in their head. They go back and look at tapes, look at selective moments in a career also. And they have all his sneakers. You know what I'm saying? And they got all his sneakers. While meanwhile, a lot of us have been there and seen Jordan from beginning to end.
So would it be better if they say he was the greatest of his time? And not all time?
That's what I would say. I mean, we and JP did this show a while back where we was just like, yo, with especially just talking basketball, it's easier, in my opinion, and better if you define who is the greatest of a certain decade. Take 10-year periods of the league, and that's who was the best then. Jordan owns the 90s. You know, Magic owns the 80s. Wilt and Kareem, 70s, 60s. You know what I'm saying? You bring it to the 2000s. You got the end of Jordan. You have Kobe Bryant. You got Shaq. You got the emergence of LeBron. And then you bring it to the 2010s. You have the dominance of LeBron. So it varies.
Funny you say that. Because I was watching the Summer League game, and they were interviewing the young players. And like two kids out of all the kids they interviewed said Jordan was the best. Because they didn't grow up. They weren't even born. They didn't see Jordan play at all. They can't relate to it. In no way, shape, or form. And I understand that. How can you relate to something that you couldn't witness, touch, feel?
Right.
It doesn't affect you.
In its time. We can, the tapes are there. We can go back. The tapes are there. Just like these artists' albums are there. The mixtape stuff, the music is out there. The game film and game tape is out there. So you can make your own conclusion and go back and see. But a lot of us lived the errors to understand, and it makes it valid to why they would be in our top 5s. You know, that's what makes it valid. Now, to drop mine and then you could drop yours, but I'm gonna give an explanation on how I do things nowadays. And most of y'all, especially y'all in HHDG who's been down for years, know why I'm gonna say what I'm saying. My personal top 5, because it's mine, because this is KRS-One is number 1. I look at him as like the 5-tool baseball player that can do it all. Like he's Shohei Ohtani right now. Ohtani is a fucking pitcher who's pitching lights out games here and there right now. Plus is the freaking league's home run, leading the league in home runs. Like he could do it all. Like, you know, steal bases, play the field. Oh, 5-tool player. You know 5-tool players are baseball, TJ. KRS-One is that.
Yep.
Jay-Z is that same thing. He's my number 2, along with you add the business aspect of things in it. That's where he could be my number 1, but KRS is forever my number 1. Number 3 is Redman. I don't need to explain why Redman is a great. Number 4 is Doom. I know, Seuss, if you're listening, I know how you feel. we established that over the 8+ years we've known each other. We know. But Doom. And you understand Doom, so I don't even have to explain it to you, TJ. And then number 5 for me is Sean Price.
Ooh.
But this is my 5, though. You could tell me I'm wrong all you want, And then I'll battle why I'm right. Because guess what? It's mine. I'm not telling you to have the same matching thing as me. Just like the rest of the world tries to do the same shit. But because I always used to forget Ice Cube in mentioning my top fives is the reason why I now separate and have a Legends set. Ice Cube and Master Ace, actually. The two reasons why now I have my Legends set. And the Legends thing, this is what I implore everybody. This is something that I implore everybody to do. Have your Legends bracket. Those MCs, and especially we're talking rap, those MCs whose greatness supersedes being quantified by a number, by a placement on a list to you. That they are just great for the reasons that they're great, and that's it. That's where Big, Pac, Jay, KRS, Nas, Rakim, Black Thought, for me, Ludacris, Master Ace, Ice Cube, E40, Andre 3000, like this is Scarface, like this is where those type of people that are so stamped in history that you don't have to have them in a top 5. They are just greatness no matter how you spin it. And that's what makes it easier for me to go along. So if you want to have your top 5 personally, do that. Do I agree with Jamel Hill? Maybe some of y'all need to start flipping it up and changing it up for the times. Do that. You know, I mean, I'll even just for a quote unquote newer era, Lil Wayne goes into that. You know, he ain't for me, but that man defined an era. You could put him in the Legends bracket. You can put Drake in that Legends bracket. He ain't for me, but he defined a freaking era. He defines an era.
You know what I'm saying? Kanye?
There's Kanye, another one. He defines a generation. That you don't have to have him as a top 5. Like he's just an enigma on it. Well, we see it what he did with his fucking the Donda album and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Like he's an enigma of his own. But these people, you know, they get their props from me as they are legends in their own right. You know, that's why I can give props to a Soulja Boy. YouTube might not be YouTube if it wasn't for a cat like him. You know what I'm saying? Now, musically, is it? No. I mean, nobody's really going back and playing Soulja Boy music, but he's stamped in history as you can't take that away from that kid. You know what I'm saying?
It's what like, they contributed to the culture.
Right. So it's this. There's a lot that can go into it, but that's why I say it's easier to just keep a Legends and your personal top 5. So if Big and Pac are in your personal, that's your top 5. Who am I to tell you your top 5 is wrong?
I like that.
I like that. You're right. Your thoughts on Jamel's comments, though?
I mean, she does make a valid point. And like we were saying, of the era. Like you said, Ice Cube is a legend. Not for the three classic albums or four albums he put out back to back. But for the work he did with NWA and writing it, and what he contributed to NWA.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to get lost in the sauce.
Yep. On top of his transition.
Scarface. Yeah. Scarface. He's been doing it for over damn near 30 years now. What he's done, and what he's contributed. He's rhymed with the best of them. Jay-Z, Nas, whoever you want to put out. I like that. We can talk eras instead of overall whole. You can't deny LL as being a legend.
Absolutely.
Ice-T.
Facts.
You know, all these people, like you said, deserve their legends bracket. Like you can't argue what they contributed to the culture. to hip hop to being a rapper. These guys were blueprints for what we have out now. They carried the culture to where it is today. Like you said, KRS One. To me, I feel the same way about KRS One. The way you, I grew up with KRS One when he first came out. I was like in the eighth grade when I first heard KRS One. I thought he was the best thing since sliced bread. He taught me so much. You know what I'm saying? Spoke to me the way other people couldn't. And that's why I hold him in such high regard. Run DMC, I grew up with them. They were the first rap group I ever listened to. I can't deny that I don't put them in my top five as rappers, but I put them in like overall they're in the top five of legends and what they've done. For their era, when Run DMC first came out, you couldn't touch them.
Not at
all. You couldn't touch them, and he stamped and paved the way for everybody.
Like
you can't deny that.
Comparison is like I could equate Run DMC to like the Road Warriors. Like
right.
Nobody really gets the pop. Has gotten really like a pop like the Road Warriors since. And Run DMC kind of would get the same equal effect in their era. But it happened in that era. And you can't deny what happened in that era. But yet the game evolves to where then you got a Wu-Tang Clan. Oh, excuse me. You got a Wu-Tang Clan. And I would say a Wu-Tang Clan would be the Dudley Boys, in my opinion. Because Wu-Tang, you want to talk groups, #1 rap group of all time, in my opinion. Dudley Boys, #1 tag team, in my opinion. They've taken what the past have done and put it to another few levels above that old crew can't reach because the game changed. And then the game changed even after them. Because you got to put things in errors.
You look at a group like Public Enemy.
Yep. Shout outs to Will, as you see, repping the Full Court 21, and he just had Chuck D on his show.
Indeed. And what Chuck D and Public Enemy contributed to the culture. I mean, you can't even question that.
Not at all.
It was a movement.
I could question this, though. Shout outs to Oz. He said, Wu-Tang may be the Bullet Club or NWO, so large. Great comparison, especially on the NWO, but not on the bad NWO when it turned into NWO Red and Black and all that, and the group got too large. But when you talk Wu-Tang and you break down those affiliates, like that's another rabbit hole for another conversation. I'm talking about the original 9 or 10 if you want to count Capadonna, who should have been an OG, is an OG member, but we all know the history of him.
Right. So you know what? Your personal top five is top five of your opinion of what you grew up with, what resonated with you the most, and you can't argue that. There's no argument for that. You're gonna get shot down nine different ways because of what it meant to you, not the overall consensus, but what it meant to you. So yeah, I can agree with that, and I can agree with Jamel going back to what Jamel was saying. Yeah, should they be in the top five list? Yes, but for what it meant to you. Not to the overall broad perspective of what we call hip hop in this culture.
Right. It's because it's at the end of the day, it's all subjective. And like I mentioned, that subjectivity is what did it mean to you? How did it represent you? How did it feel towards you? Like I remember, what was it? I think it was BET, like at least a decade or two back. They had that whole like round table of people who were quote unquote in the industry trying to define an overall top 5 or top 10. And even when they put that list together with the shenanigans and bullshit that they applied to it, I still didn't agree with it because guess what? That's y'all opinion that y'all think that the masses should overall have. And I bring it back to the basketball conversation. Y'all know me. I'm never going to put Michael Jordan as number one. He might be number 2 or 3 in my opinion, but because when you think about and do your research on the eras, who was a greater winner than him in the league in general?
Bill Russell.
11 of them things. One as a coach, player coach.
You don't even have enough hands.
Right? I was going to say something dumb, but I don't think they make the ring big enough for that down there too. But and it even still, you think about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He might be the greatest winner in basketball from bottom to top. From high school. In state
Bill won in college as well.
And I'm just Kareem.
I know it's Kareem. Yeah.
Almost every year he was in high school. 3 out of the 4 years he was in college. 5 of them NBA rings. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to talk from starting off playing to the end and you've won at every single level with a certain level of dominance, MJ didn't do that. MJ didn't start playing basketball till what? His junior or senior year of high school.
10th or 11th grade, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and then he got his one in college and then bounced. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he got 3 and 3 in a row. You know, 3 in a row one time, 3 in a row the next time. And once again, people forget that whole, 7 and 9 years in the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say, forget the whole first portion of his career.
Mm-hmm. But then how do those same people try to deny LeBron James's greatness, who nobody's made? Well, no, others have, but he made it to 8 in a row, almost 9 in a row.
That's hard to do.
Right, and never took the same break that Jordan did.
Worked with less in the beginning. Than he has now. Much less.
We all remember that garbage bag, a team that he brought to the finals and lost in his first go round in Cleveland.
Eric Snow wasn't going to get it done, bro.
You know, but this is why these conversations are so subjective, and it goes back to what you feel for you and what you've seen and what you witnessed to make up your thing. And that's where I stopped that nonsense of telling you want to feel Michael Jordan is the greatest ever. We'll have that argument just for debate purposes because this can be a fun conversation. But if at the end of it all, if that's how you felt about it and that's what represents you in your life, it's all good because it's yours. I'm not going to tell you. We can debate numbers and facts and all that stuff. Otherwise, we can debate intangibles and all that shit otherwise, but it's just for debate, just for conversation. If you choose to modify your stance on certain things, I'll give you that. Perfect example for me was seeing Michael Jordan's statue outside of the United Center up close and personal and reading all the accolades around it while remembering he did go 6 for 6 in all his finals appearances with 6 MVPs and no series went past 6 games. That's why I took a step back and say, okay, I now fully understand why people would say he's number one. But then when you put in the names that we mentioned before, okay, he did 6 for 6, but he didn't win as much as Bill Russell. He didn't win as much as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Nor did he put up the astronomical numbers of Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, nobody, still to this day, has done what Will Chamberlain has done.
That shit is video games, bro.
And he was doing that against Bill Russell. and Kareem, and he played with Kareem I think he played for Kareem for a little bit, right, on one of them Lakers teams.
Some of them Lakers. So I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, my facts might be off too, but still, if you want to add those intangibles into these arguments, you want to add the intangibles of, take like say like what Puffy would say about Big in the studio and how he worked, or what Jay-Z would say about seeing him in the studio and how he worked. We wasn't there to notice that, but they were. And if that aids to what defines Big to be number one to them, they can have that because they were in more intimate places to have seen how the sauce gets made.
Right. But it goes back to what we're saying. It's what we felt at that time that made that decision for us.
Yep. And so with that
it just goes right back to that.
Yep. With that right there is the perfect way to end it, man. It's own your list. You got your list, own that shit. Stand on it. If that's the hill you choose to die on and how you make that list, it's yours. Do that shit.
My favorite comment is that's your opinion. I can't argue it. There's nothing to fight against.
Exactly, because it's
yours.
That's
how you feel.
Yep.
Yeah.
But how I feel though right now, TJ, I think it's time to wrap this up.
I agree.
Yeah, we was a little off today. We was definitely fucking mumble rapping in the beginning, but we closed it out strong.
As per the usual, my brother. Shout out to Hollis in the comments. Thanks for participating. Shout out to everybody in the group. We love the participation, the activity. Please support us as much as you can, when you can. Shout out to you, Dan, making this possible for almost every week. Shout out to Qatar and John. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here today. A good show, another good topics. I love it.
And y'all want to know what to do. I'm going to tell y'all again. I'm pointing. Which way? Should I point?
To the right.
Yeah, down right there. Oh, dope. Thanks for the support. You copped a shirt. Thank you. But you see, as I'm pointing to the bottom right corner, scan that QR code right there. That'll take you to the star5podcast.com. Get all the information on us there that you want. All our streaming platforms, Instagram, the merch links, all that good stuff, man. Hit that QR code right there. You're going to see that from now on every week. Next week, I'll have up on the other side, I'll have the QR code up so y'all can come join the Star 5 Podcast Facebook group. Please join the Facebook group so you can add on to the coming thread. We're 1,000 strong. We're gonna hit 2,000 hopefully within the next month or two because we're still waiting. Still waiting. If you want to get that inside joke,
Lauryn Hill show anything.
Lauryn Hill showed up on Nas's album before he came back. Lauryn Hill gonna show up 3 hours late to the next show and still come faster than the Becoming. But anyway, with that being said, it's the mayor for TJ, JP Katara, who's gone this week. We out. Peace.
Peace.